ChrysantheMoms is a nonprofit organization that supports women and children who are affected by the disease of addiction. Their mission is to create a world where they can thrive through power and support from our community. It's really women helping women. Join us in the next 30 minutes as we meet some of the alumni and the founders that help bring this organization to the forefront of a Harford County community. I'm Christy Breslin, and this is Harford MagaScene. I'm here with Heidi Gerard. She is the executive director and founder of ChrysantheMoms. And I'm so excited to talk to Heidi because today we are going to talk about a topic that is really plaguing the nation and having a major impact on our community. Heidi, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Heidi, what first inspired you to start ChrysantheMoms?
I was inspired by a lot of stories I heard in the community. Before I started ChrysantheMoms, I was working for a nonprofit. And during my time there, I was working with women that were at the Harford County Detention Center. A lot of times before they were leaving, we'd be working on a reentry plan, and they would say, I have kids and I have nowhere to go with my children. When I would start to look for resources for them, there would be no resources. And if they were from Harford County and wanted to stay in Harford County, they couldn't because there was no housing for women with children. A lot of times we could set them up with like the Harford Family House, which is an amazing resource here. But the problem is they have a wait list. And so when you're transitioning out and you're hoping to reunite with your kids, you can't. You're just kind of in this weird stuck place and there's no option for you unless you go to Cecil County or you go to Baltimore City or Annapolis. But around here, there was nothing.
Oh, absolutely. So the name, explain that. I love it.
So when I was bouncing around ideas, I was thinking something around a lotus or something with nature or willow. I knew it was going to be nature-based. And my daughter and I were sitting in the kitchen, and I was like, what's a pretty flower that we can play with and come up with a fun name? And she said, well, what about a chrysanthemum? Because it sounds like moms at the end. And I said, well, what are you thinking? And she was like, what about if we say ChrysantheMoms? And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to think twice. I'm just going to put it on the paperwork and we're going to submit it and we're going with it because you chose it.
Aww. Well, she did a great job. And not only are you so relevant in our community, but let's talk about all the services that you offer.
Sure. So we have the Lily House. The Lily House is a house for women and children, a recovery house for women and children. We also coordinate the Harford County Family Recovery Court and Truancy Court, as well as providing resources and peer support to others in the community.
Now, I know there's got to be challenges. So what are the challenges of building and sustaining the facilities?
Fortunately, with the Harford County Family Recovery Court, that kind of fell into my lap. I was very fortunate to be offered that position and to be able to put it under ChrysantheMoms. The building of the Lily House has been a whole different ball game. The house started, we bought the house, everything was really exciting, and the idea of building the handbook and actually following the handbook has probably been the biggest struggle we've had. You know, we're a house with 6 to 7 different women. We have children. There's a lot of different personalities. The challenges are daily. It's just learning to navigate the different personalities, the different situations that are coming in, how do we handle it effectively, because our main goal at the end is to make sure these women leave here independent, strong in their recovery, and reunited with their children.
Well, how has the community supported you? Because I know community support is essential.
It's the most essential thing to help a nonprofit, to make a nonprofit work. Without the community, nonprofits would not exist. So an example would be when we first bought the house, our realtor actually put up a post and posted what we were going to do with the house. And that same day that he posted it, we had numerous people reach out and say, what can I do to help you? do you need furniture? Do you need pots? Do you need pans? All the furniture in the house was provided by one family that came through. His mom had passed away. She said, we need to figure out what to do. We're either going to have an estate sale or we just want to give everything to you. So they brought in the furniture. Another family brought in like pictures and wall plaques that just happened to coordinate the couches. So like everything happened perfectly for the setup, the beds, everything has been donated. Without the community, none of this would be possible. It wouldn't be what it is without the support from our community.
What do you wish that more people understood about the challenges for women and children that are currently in recovery?
Number one would be the stigma. Not everybody that is in recovery is actively a drug addict. I think that's a big stigma is people, when we came into the community, into the neighborhood, I think our neighbors thought, oh great, a recovery house, that means people are going to be there getting high. They don't realize that it's a program where there's no drugs, there's no alcohol, there is a curfew, you can't just have anybody come over, stop by. So the biggest thing is the stigma. Recovery is a good thing. It's something that people need to know it's good. It's people that are working really hard to get to be better, and whether they're doing it to reunify with their children or if they're doing it for their family, they're doing it because they want to do it and they want to get better and they want to continue on in their life, because addiction is a disease. It's a life or death disease.
Now, what can we do as a community and the business community and just people in general to support the mission of the Lily House?
Being a nonprofit, we need support, monetary items, any kind of support. Spread the word, let people know what we're doing in the community. We always need food and toilet paper. You'd be surprised with the toilet paper. Like, that's a big issue when you have a house of 6, 7 women and a bunch of children running around. Diapers are always a big need. We can't exist without the help from our community. So whatever anyone can do to help us, we're more than happy to take it.
Heidi, thank you so much, especially for everything that you're doing to tackle such an important topic in our community.
Thank you.
Well, coming up next, we're going to speak to one of the board members from the organization that's going to talk to us about what they're doing to raise awareness. Stay with us. Marianne Kellum, she is a board member and she is also the program manager at the Lily House. She's here to tell us all about how they're investing back in Harford County and what they're doing to help others. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Marianne, what first inspired you to become involved with ChrysantheMoms?
So when Heidi came to me with the idea, I just thought it was a great idea. We are women helping women in a fellowship that just helps other women grow and inspire other women. So when she came to me with the idea of opening up the Lily House, I just thought this is something that we need to do together.
Well, tell me about when it first opened and now about the beginnings of the Lily House.
So when it first opened, it was very exciting. We had a group of women that came through, and it was extremely challenging because we were all learning how to navigate, how to make it operate successfully. So once we got the handbook in place, and I think that was the biggest challenge for us, is to stick to the handbook.
Can you elaborate on that? What exactly does that mean?
Okay, so a handbook is something, rules and regulations with some structure in it, right? Mm-hmm. So every person that comes through the Lily House, we usually give them an opportunity to look at the handbook, read the handbook, and agree to the handbook, because there are definitely some rules. And some of the girls don't want to sign off on the handbook because that means that we're going to hold them accountable to that. So like the curfew, right, and checking in on a daily basis and doing what's asked of you, getting a job and paying rent and managing your money. Those are all things that we try to teach the women, because sometimes they come here with no skills. So,
well, like you said, it's women helping women. And with you being a board member, how does that align with your personal values?
So my personal values is really being empathetic and compassionate towards other women who are trying to make changes in their lives. So those are my personal values, so that's what I try to bring to the Lily House.
How many people can the Lily House actually accommodate?
Right now we have a house of 7.
And if someone does need their services or thinks that they could really help them, how do you get involved? How do you apply? How do you find out if you're eligible?
So usually they go through Heidi, through the FRC or truancy. There's people in a 12-step fellowship that reach out that we are friendly with, other houses that are always looking for some other beds for women. So it's just really right now word of mouth. And we do have a website. You can apply on the website.
Now, if there is one thing that you could tell our viewers about ChrysantheMoms, what would it be?
I feel like that we need more ChrysantheMoms in the community. I feel like it is extremely important to be helping women, you know, trying to get back up on their feet or reunite with their children and their families. I think there's a stigmatism that goes along with you know, if you screw up in life, there's nobody else there to help me, and I believe everybody needs second chances.
Marianne, thank you so much for all that you've done, and I'm very excited to be here and learn more about all the good work that you're doing in Harford County.
Thanks for having me.
Now, we talked about community partnerships and also volunteerism. They are the backbone. Once again, they are essential to the success of this wonderful organization. We're going to hear all about that coming up next. Now, we talked about the importance and the impact of community partnerships. Well, I have Christina Bunton, who is here as a community partner from the Daniel Carl Torsch Foundation, to talk about the collaboration. Hi, Christina.
Hi, thank you.
Now, Christina, tell me, what is the Daniel Carl Torsch Foundation?
We are a local nonprofit, community-based organization based out of Baltimore County.
Now, how does your mission align with ChrysantheMoms?
Although both organizations are different, we both, I feel, have the same goal, right? We're for harm reduction and assisting individuals in recovery.
Do you have a personal connection or a certain story that drew you to ChrysantheMoms?
It's actually very personal. Me being a person of recovery myself, and I am a mom. This type of setup was not available to me back in 2017. So it is very close to my heart, and I wish that there was someone like me for me back then, where I didn't have to give up my kids.
Well, tell me, how has ChrysantheMoms helped you?
As an organization or as myself?
Both.
So I'd say as an organization, you know, we pull resources, right? That's what it's all about, coming together and assisting one another. As far as me, because it's so close to my heart, being able to assist these women in a way that no one could for me is serving others is serving ourselves.
Now, can you give like a specific example of how your organization working with ChrysantheMoms has positively impacted someone?
For example, there was a situation that arose last night, actually, that I was able to, with collaborating with Heidi, in a matter of less than an hour, able to assist someone back into treatment because that was their choice. And then navigate them into their next step. And I actually got a very nice thank you, and not just the thank you, but she had said about not giving up on her and that she was grateful for that.
So, Christina, let me ask you, the Daniel Carl Torsch Foundation services, how are they compared to ChrysantheMoms?
So whereas ChrysantheMoms provides sober living home for women and their children, the Daniel Carl Torch Foundation, we provide case management services, peer coaching services. We're all about harm reduction and meeting people where they are. We actually provide now and started incorporating wound care, so we have a wound care nurse. We are literally boots on the ground providing community outreach and assisting individuals struggling in their recovery.
And it's great to say, but it looks like you're doing fantastic right now.
Yes, I guess. Thank you so much.
Christina, thank you so much. And once again, like you said, these partnerships, they're essential. They really do make a difference.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And coming up next, we're going to speak to one of the volunteers at the Lily House that's going to give us some insight on how they help these people that are suffering from addiction get back on their feet. I'm now here with Carrie Paradise, and she is the founder of Revival for Recovery, and she's also a partner with ChrysantheMoms. And I'm so glad to be here with you. I'm so happy to hear about this collaboration. So thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Now, Carrie, let's talk about your foundation, Revival for Recovery. What exactly is it?
Yeah, it's a nonprofit in Harford County, and we do peer recovery work. So we go throughout the community and work with different women. Help them, getting over those, steps once they get out of rehab. So once they get out and they need help with like finding a job or getting a license, we kind of help them with that, and we also help them with the other aspect of it as far as like fitness, health, and letting them know that, they can still have a good time in the community. Just because they don't have any substances in their body. So what we do is we do different events throughout the community, and we invite all the nonprofits in Harford County, and they can bring everybody, and it's a free event that we put on. We're having our third annual one September 18th. It's a Thursday night, and what we do is we just really try to reach out to the community as much as we can and just help, because we're all in this together, and it's definitely a tough defeat when you feel like you're all alone. So working together as a community and letting everybody know that we're here for you is just really important. Myself, being 3.5 years sober, I just want to give back to the community and help as much as I can. So that's why I started the nonprofit, and I continue to do donations. Revival for Recovery, we will collect coats, clothing, different canned goods, and we'll hand them out throughout the recovery community.
Well, how did you first become involved with ChrysantheMoms?
Well, I love Heidi.
Oh, well, everyone does.
I actually met Heidi at Mount Christian Church in the very beginning of my recovery journey. I was there doing some peer recovery work, and she was there presenting, and we met probably about 3 years ago. And we've been friends ever since, and since I started doing some peer work, I just want to help and volunteer as much as I can here as well. So,
well, can you talk more about your role as a peer and a mentor and a volunteer?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. It's just really, it's a really rewarding position to be in, because you're helping these women, and they don't realize like how much that they're helping you, and that's why the program works so well. It's kind of like a give and take. It's like when you go and you sit there and you listen to them, that's all they want. They just want someone that's going to listen to them, and it's really important to be there for them when they're in a crisis mode, and being able to talk them out of it, and be there and listen to them. I've seen so many things happen with women throughout this community, and it's been a real eye-opening experience, because that's just the women that are talking about it, and you really want to be able to, make them feel calm and comfortable, because they think they think that they're the only ones, and they're not. There's a lot of people that are struggling out there, and it's okay. It's okay to, be struggling, and people need to know that.
Oh, that's amazing. Now, what are some of the challenges that you've seen women face in recovery, and how do you help them overcome these challenges?
Well, there's quite a few, but one is, they went to a 28-day program. Now they're going to come into a sober living house, and they haven't seen their family, right? They haven't seen their children. And so that's hard for them, And so with Heidi's program, them coming here, they get to see their kids, It might be a visitation rights or, however they have it set up, but they get to see them. They'll be able to have communication and have a relationship and have like an hour visit with them. It's really... it's really hard when these women get out and they want to like get back with like old habits, like an ex-boyfriend or an ex-husband. And this is the time that they really need to realize that they need to just focus on themselves. You know, you have cared about everybody else your whole life and it hasn't worked for you. And it's time for you to take care of you and focus on yourself. And these women need that strength. They need other women backing them up, letting them understand that how important it is to really just focus on you at this point in time. And all those other things are going to fall in place once you're taking care of you.
Now, what would you say to others to encourage them to support ChrysantheMoms, whether it's volunteering, donating, or just being involved?
I mean, if anybody wanted to make a Costco run.
Never hurts.
Paper towels, toilet paper. I mean, for the sober living houses, that's always needed, any kind of cleaning supplies. I do as the season is, so for like clothing wise, you know, like for winter, I bring winter coats, gloves, hats. Then once, you know, spring comes, I'm bringing in like the more lighter color, you know, clothing, lighter clothing. Summertime, same kind of thing, you know, shoes. But yeah, I mean, donations are always very huge for nonprofits, as you know.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and anything is greatly appreciated. No denomination is too small or too big or whatever you want to say. It's just the thought, really, you know, that we're all trying to work together as a community and get this thing going.
Now, Carrie, I have to ask, there's so many misconceptions and stigmas regarding recovery. Can you address some of them?
There are so many people in our community that are struggling, and they were struggling before COVID, but there's still people struggling even after COVID. And it's a problem, and it's not going anywhere. It's not going to change overnight, and if you turn an eye to it, it's going to go away. Addiction is here. So many people in our community suffer from it. And the stigma with it is people don't understand that it's a disease. It's substance abuse disorder. It needs to be treated just like you would treat having cancer. If you treat it, you can get better. And I'm living proof of that as just as much as like all my sobriety sisters and all the people that go to my meetings. It's the same thing for all those people. They never thought that they were going to be able to do it either, but they got the right tools and they went to treatment and they got therapy for trauma. They got therapy for different things that, you know, were issues in their lives that they had issues with, and help them work through those things, and had professional people helping them and making them realize why they're drinking and using substances to numb that, you know, because people don't want to feel anything. Right. They would rather just numb it. And what it's become is the society is like, you know, it's just drinking is involved in anything and everything we do. You know, you go to a first birthday party and people are drinking at a first birthday party. You know, over the past 3.5 years of me being sober, like, I love my life. I'm present for my daughters. I'm there for them. I remember everything. I wake up the next day, I feel great. I go to the gym. I want to help other women. I'm motivated. I have my creativity back. And you lose that during that time. And these people that are struggling with this disease, they don't want this. It's not like these people, and I know that you know that, you know, heroin is now fentanyl, and now fentanyl is, you know, xylazine, which some people don't even know what that is, and it's a terrible. These people don't think that they're getting that. You know, they are sick. They are doing it because they're so ill, and if they don't do it, they're going to die. Mm-hmm. It's not like they want to continue to do it. They just need help, and they don't know where to get help from. And I will give you a perfect example of how much people don't know and how there is not enough awareness about this situation is because I've had people that reach out to me privately all the time and have no idea where to get help for alcohol abuse. Now, you would think that would be something simple like, oh, well, for me, like, okay, you go to an AA meeting. But listen, 3.5 years ago when I was hiding in my closet and drinking, I had no idea how to get help. I had no idea. And these people are scared. They don't know who to ask. They don't know where to get the help from. And as long as they have the help and they know where to go get it, there's resources there for them. There's plenty of resources now. And this is something that we need to fight as a state, as a country. This is a situation that is not, it's getting worse. It's not going away. And, you know, people are so overwhelmed and so stressed with everything that goes on in their lives, and they just don't feel like dealing with it, and they numb it. And it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, I had this guy, I did his pictures like 10 years ago, and like he reached out to me, and you know, he had no idea where to get help. He didn't know anything about an AA book. He didn't know anything about meetings. He didn't know anything.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's something so simple like that that you think that people could just ask a friend or whatever, but they're too scared to do it.
Right.
You know, and they need to know that it's okay to talk about it. You know, like acting like everything is great. You don't have to do that. It's okay not to be okay.
Carrie, thank you so much. Not an easy topic to talk about, but you do it with courage, and we really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
So coming up next, we're going to speak to someone who is a member of the Lily House and is going to talk about her recovery. Stay with us. Portia Taylor is here, and she is an alumni of the Lily House, and she is here to tell us her story, how she got into the house, and all about her recovery. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Portia, what first led you to the Lily House?
Okay, so it's a really funny story. I'm actually in a program called Drug Court, and I was having a really hard time, and I was getting in a lot of trouble there. So the owner of this place sat in on it unexpectedly. She didn't know I was going to be there. I didn't know she was going to be there. And they were kind of like taking me away and was like, you know, this is it for you. You can't get it together. So, you know, we have to send you away. And she kind of intervened and was like, hey, I have a spot for her. So she talked to me about it and told me what this place was all about. And I was like, I'll give it a try. Nothing else is working for me. So I'll just give it a try. And I did. And it was the best decision I've ever made.
Oh, that's fantastic. So how did they support you in recovery and your reunification journey?
So this house is a house for moms. And that was my biggest thing, to be able to reconnect with my son. When I was in addiction, it was a lot of things that I did that I wasn't a part of his life, or like big milestones, birthdays, holidays, and things like that. They helped me get that relationship back with my child. They helped me be a part of society again, getting a job, and, you know, being a sister and a daughter and things like that.
And from your perspective, what makes the Lily House so unique?
Well, above everything else it's a mom program. You can have your children here. In addiction, it's hard for parents, moms or dads, to have a relationship with their kids, especially when they're in recovery, because you did all the things that you did to stir away from your kids. So the fact that you get to be into your kid's life again and they help you out with that, that's the best part about this program.
Oh, absolutely. And looking back, like, what are you most proud of achieving here at the Lily House?
Oh, man. There's so many things I've done here. Being in the house, I was able to get a job, get my own place, get a car, and like I said, get a relationship with my child. I'm able to show up today. I have friends today, real friends, not friends that I thought were my friends. It's amazing.
Now, as someone who has been there, what advice would you give to someone who's considering going to the Lily House to help them face the recovery?
I think they should, because this program, it just helps you just figure out who you are, get to know yourself again, and it helps you, like I said, be a member of society. Like before, you couldn't do that, and here it gives you that opportunity.
Well, do you see yourself staying connected with the Lily House and giving back?
Absolutely. So I'm not in the house anymore, but I come here almost every day. I'm here every Monday. I love staying in contact with these girls and helping them out and to show them the way that I did it, how it worked for me, and maybe it can help you too.
Well, what message or words of encouragement and support would you give to other community members and, you know, encouraging them once again, take that next step?
Never give up. You know, giving up is you fail at everything if you give up. Like I thought that I couldn't do something. I was like, you know what, just forget it. I'm not even going to try. Just don't give up, because you'll succeed.
Now, Portia, let's talk about where you were then and where you are now.
Okay, so to put it simply, then I was in jail. Now, today, I just got the keys to my very first apartment.
Portia, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story. I mean, it's really heartwarming, and I'm so glad to see things have worked out so well for you.
Thanks for having me.
Well, as you have seen today, this is a great way for women and their children that are going through recovery get back on their feet and lead a fulfilling life. So if you or someone you know could benefit from their services, make sure you visit their website, ChrysantheMoms.org. I'm Christy Breslin. See you next month on Harford MagaScene.